Good Thursday morning. Thanks for joining us on Kare 11 News Now. I'm Megan McPherson. Developing this morning, a man is dead and another is in the hospital after a shooting in St. Paul. Police have been on scene all morning. The shooting happened near the Buttered Tin on 7th Street East. Officers responding to the scene just before midnight. Audrey Russo is near that scene with everything we know.
Well, after hours of investigation, police have opened up part of the intersection here at 7th and Wakuta. You can see 7th now. Traffic is flowing, but there's still about half a block of Wakuta that's blocked off by police tape as officers really lock in on this apartment building over the Buttered Tin restaurant. Now, that is where St. Paul police believe the shooting happened. They were called to the scene right before midnight for a report of multiple shots fired. When officers arrived on scene, they found one man who had been shot in the stomach. That man was brought to the hospital where he later died from his injuries. Another man was found inside the apartment building. He had been shot in the leg. Now he is expected to survive. Police say that they are actively working on suspect information. They don't have anybody in custody at this point in the morning. Now, if you're driving through St. Paul today, just note that there's still this closure. Cars are driving around. It is easy to kind of avoid at this point, but just be forewarned that if your travels take you anywhere near this intersection, you will still see officers out here, likely into rush hour. This is St. Paul's 12th homicide of the year. Back to you.
This morning, new details in the sexual harassment allegations against St. Paul Mayor Kare. The mayor is accused of sexually harassing city employees, including Police Chief Axel Henry. In a formal complaint Chief Henry made, he included a text message sent by Mayor Herr to a police officer in which she photoshopped his face onto a meme making a sexual reference. We also confirmed complaints made by a female deputy chief who said Mayor Herr made inappropriate comments while they were in a locker room. The deputy chief also reporting the mayor made loud sex noises while stretching in front of police officers at the department workout room. In a new statement, Mayor Herr says her attempts at humor, quote, fell short. She says she is confident the full facts will come to light and intends to stay in office. The question now is what happens as Mayor Herr and Chief Henry must work together on several high-profile issues. The two will be taking a multi-department approach sooner than later as the city is set to close a large homeless encampment at Pigs Eye Park next week. Herr's announcement already sparking pushback and concerns from the community. A defense attorney not involved in this investigation says political fallout is a possibility.
It's going to really necessitate the highest of maturity and the highest of cooperation between departments to continue to function and serve the people.
We also reached out to several leaders within the Hmong community, none of whom wanted to go on camera, but offered a shared hope the mayor and chief can amicably resolve this issue. This morning, Brooklyn Park police say a second suspect is in custody following a deadly shooting at Harpkoff Park earlier this month. The shooting happened just before 11 on the evening of Sunday, July 5th. Police say a 16-year-old died after being shot in the head. Investigators say they arrested a 17-year-old boy last night in Peoria, Illinois. He's now awaiting extradition back to Minnesota. Police previously arrested another 17-year-old in connection to this shooting. And this morning, Minneapolis police are investigating two different break-ins at the same Minneapolis mosque. The most recent one happened July 20th. The Minnesota chapter of the Council on American Islamic Relations sharing this video of one of those incidents, showing a group prying open a door, as you see there, and then walking in before being immediately chased out. It happened at the Al-Hikmah Islamic Center on East Franklin Avenue. Anyone who recognizes people in the video or knows more about what happened are being asked to contact police. This morning, Anoka County's sheriff is making his pitch for automated license plate readers, defending a contract he signed to bring more flock cameras and drones. Sheriff Brad Wise signed that contract earlier this month at a total of $174,500, just under what would require county approval. It will bring roughly 10 drones and up to 75 additional license plate readers to the county, about double what currently exists. But it's fully up to each city where to put them or keep them. This move, though, has many concerned about data storage and access.
And all of the data right now, as we know, is being stored in a private company's cloud, and that goes far beyond the reach of Anoka County. And that's the concern. That creates a lot of anxiety.
We hear from tens, hundreds of people that are in opposition, and you're left to use your best judgment on what you think is best for the county and for the other residents that are in the county.
A flock company spokesperson tells Kare 11 they don't own or sell the data, and data is deleted automatically after 30 days. Developing this morning, 5 men in Washington County facing charges after allegedly sexually assaulting a 14-year-old girl. Police say they started investigating after the girl's father reported her missing. She was found 3 days later and taken to the hospital, where she identified all 5 men. Charges say she met 4 of the men through social media and 1 through a treatment program. Authorities say the men did not know each other. And we're also following breaking news out of Iran. Overnight, the U.S. military launching a heavy wave of airstrikes after a 5-day pause in fighting. This is new video into the newsroom showing the aftermath. President Trump says it's in retaliation for an Iranian missile attack in Jordan. In a post on X, Central Command wrote, "All service members in the Middle East are focused, lethal, and ready to fight." Dr. Anthony Fauci invoked his Fifth Amendment right, refusing to answer questions at a Senate hearing into the roots of COVID. Fauci said he was avoiding the possibility that Republicans could use his answers to pursue long-held threats to try to prosecute him for perjury. That as the Senate postponed its vote on whether to advance Todd Blanche's nomination to be Attorney General over concerns from a pair of Republican senators. NBC's Alice Barr has the latest from Washington.
Hi there. We're tracking 2 controversies, one centered on the nation's former top infectious disease expert, the other on the president's pick for Attorney General, both leaving questions swirling on Capitol Hill. This morning, Capitol Hill is at the center of 2 controversies, with President Trump's pick for Attorney General Todd Blanche held up in a late-night move, delaying today's Senate Judiciary Committee vote on his nomination over concerns from 2 Republican senators. John Cornyn, who lost his primary to a Trump-backed challenger.
I'm not prepared to vote yes.
And Tom Tillis, who's retiring, both looking for written assurances from the Justice Department about a settlement between President Trump and the IRS over his leaked tax records. The senators want guarantees a controversial anti-weaponization fund under the settlement is gone for good, and to narrow protections from IRS audits for the president, his family, and companies.
It's codifying what I've been saying ad nauseum.
All of that after a fiery hearing Wednesday where Republican senators grilled Dr. Anthony Fauci over the government's handling of the COVID pandemic and the origins of the virus.
Publicly, Anthony Fauci promoted the theory that the virus arose naturally, while privately, he was well aware of a mountain of evidence suggesting the virus originated in the lab.
Republican Senator Rand Paul, a longtime Fauci critic, recently published more than 1,100 pages of his personal journal written on government-owned devices. Dr. Fauci pled the Fifth more than 100 times, accusing Paul of an unhinged obsession.
The sole reason he is calling me before this committee is to get me to say something, anything, that could vindicate his repeated public pledges that I end up, in his words, quote, behind bars.
Fauci has testified before Congress hundreds of times, but was subpoenaed Wednesday for what Democrats argued was a purely political exercise. Dr. Fauci now faces a potential contempt of Congress vote over his refusal to answer questions in that hearing. Senator Paul said his committee will vote next week on whether Fauci violated the law. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Well, if you're thinking about heading north this weekend, some good news for you this morning. More than 40 entry points are open again in the Boundary Waters. Campers can now access parts of the central and eastern sections of the BWCA for day and overnight use. Officials tell us they're reopening nearly 40% of the Boundary Waters. Officials say rain has helped with the wildfires up north, and right now they're more than 50% contained. Today, the Vikings will be back in Eagan for day 2 of training camp practice. A lot of questions surround this team this offseason, most notably who will start at quarterback between Kyler Murray and J.J. McCarthy. These sessions will decide who will take that spot. They both spoke to the media about how they're feeling entering training camp.
You know, there's so much potential oozing in that locker room, and to be able to be out here with these guys every single day and individually all of us work on our craft to be a collectively better unit, it's the most fun in the world, best time of the year.
Yeah, I think taking it one day at a time. I've envisioned a lot of things. You know, I'm big on that, and I'll just say I'm super excited for this season.
The good news, whoever does start will have good protection from the offensive line, with the Vikings signing standout right tackle Brian O'Neill yesterday. Stick with us. More news and weather is coming up after the break.